This next entry comes from Corey, the creator behind the YouTube channel Abandoned Boys, where he ventures into some of the most secluded, forsaken, and allegedly haunted spots he can find. His content typically revolves around digging into places with dark pasts, eerie reputations, and stories that don't quite have explanations. On June 15th, 2019, Corey headed out with a friend on yet another expedition, this time making his way deep into a remote stretch of woodland known as Witch's Trail, a place wrapped in unsettling folklore, including tales of hauntings and whispered rumors about secret ritualistic activity. The goal was straightforward: walk the trail, look into its reputation, and capture whatever they came across. But once they arrived and pushed further in, the mood around them shifted. Just minutes after starting their exploration, they came across something that stopped them cold: a fence smeared with what looked like fresh blood. That discovery immediately sparked questions about what exactly was going on out there. What had started as just another outing took a deeply disturbing turn when strange sounds began coming from somewhere near the fence.
Bro,
that's blood, man. What the?
What is that sound?
I don't know, man. That's blood.
Here, take this light.
Hold on, man.
Take this light. Take this light. I know.
What is that noise, man?
I don't know, man. I hear something.
Hello?
Anybody there?
Hello? Bro, what is that, man?
I don't know. It's getting louder and louder. What the fuck, bro?
Hey, zoom in on. I don't zoom in on that, man. What the hell?
Oh, you got knives, bro.
Hey, man, what's
going on, man? We don't want no problems, man.
Who's this dude, man? What's going on, man?
What the fuck?
Hold on, man. What the hell? Let me zoom in on this dude, man. Oh.
Holy shit, bro. Bro, he's coming, bro. Oh, shit.
Who's this dude, man?
I don't know,
hey,
bro.
We just out here filming, man. We ain't...
Yeah, we don't want no problem. Yeah.
He got a freaking
a light going out, man.
We gotta zoom in. He got a freaking
he's got a fucking machete.
Let me zoom in on him, man. Hold on. What is this? I don't get this. Just shine the light on him. Shine the light on him.
He's still coming, man. He's still coming, man.
All right, dude.
I'm out of here, bro.
Then, out of nowhere, someone emerged from the shadows and changed everything. A figure in a mask stepped out from the tree line, gripping what appeared to be a machete, and began slowly advancing toward Corey and his friend. They were instantly on edge, struggling to make sense of why anyone would be lurking in such an isolated patch of forest carrying a weapon. They called out to him, hoping for some kind of response or explanation, but the man said absolutely nothing. Without breaking stride, he kept closing the gap between them, and then without warning, broke into a chase. Fear took hold as the two sprinted through the woods with no idea what they'd stumbled into or what this person wanted from them. Why would someone be wearing a mask in the middle of an empty forest? Why was he carrying a blade and walking straight toward complete strangers? What had begun as a visit to a supposedly haunted trail had suddenly become a very real situation where their only priority was getting out. And yet, the threat kept escalating.
Oh my God. We don't have nowhere to go, y'all. Oh my God, y'all. We love y'all, man. This is what we do. I don't know who this guy is or where he came from or what he's doing out here. He's got blood everywhere. He's got knives and machetes. There he is. Y'all see him?
That's in a blade. Freaking blood. I don't want to kill somebody.
Look out. I don't know. Where's Trap going? Hopefully it's a house. We need help. Go in here, hide. Turn the lights out. Turn the lights out. Still got a thing right by now. What is it, y'all? Still got it. Trying to get past y'all. Oh my God, y'all. What's going on? Alright, let's go. We got baskets. Let's go, y'all. We got baskets. He's coming, y'all. No, he's coming. He's coming. Oh, he's coming. Oh, fuck. Oh, don't shine. I can't see. Oh, fuck.
Where's he coming? Shit.
Oh, look.
Oh my God.
He's coming. He saw us coming back.
Got this one. Zoom in there.
As the minutes ticked by, things grew more frightening. The masked figure showed no intention of backing off, continuing to push through the forest after them. They picked up their pace, but the thick surrounding woodland made it nearly impossible to move freely. There was no safe place to take cover, and only one path that made any sense to follow, which meant stopping simply wasn't an option. For a brief stretch, it seemed like they'd finally opened up enough ground between themselves and the stranger. But that small sense of relief evaporated instantly when the masked man reappeared directly ahead of them, closer than he'd ever been. With every passing moment, the encounter felt more threatening. His behavior was growing more aggressive, and it became clear to both Corey and his friend that they needed to put as much distance between themselves and this person as fast as humanly possible.
Oh my God, yo.
What do you want, man?
To make it out of here.
What do you want? Who are you? Hell, man. Is this a joke or what?
I don't know, man. I don't know this guy. He just keeps coming.
What the hell, man?
Don't get so close to him. Oh my God.
What the hell's going on? This is crazy, man. I know I should have came.
We shouldn't have came, y'all.
How do we get out of here?
I don't know, man. Oh my God, y'all see this? This guy is like...
Man, we are like in the middle of nowhere.
Look around, y'all. We're just trapped.
Like, what the? Things are coming, man.
Oh my God. This guy don't stop. How's he out here without lights? He doesn't have lights or nothing. You don't have lights. There's no car parked.
Got an axe and a freaking.
There's no car parked by our...
This freaking tripod.
He just keeps coming, y'all. We don't know. We don't know how to get out. We took a wrong turn. We took a wrong turn or something, guys. I don't know how to get out of here. But if we do, please like and subscribe, man, because that's what's gonna help me stay alive. It's gonna keep me sane out here. Look, nothing out here, y'all. Water. It's just water surrounding us. I think he knows that. This gorilla is just trying to talk him down. But look, he just keeps coming, y'all. It's like he's relentless. Oh my God. Oh my God, y'all.
What this dude? Is this real or what, man?
I don't know. It has to be. I don't know this guy. You don't know this guy. We never been here before. There's blood everywhere over there. It's nothing but water. No. It's something. It's water surrounding us.
The most chilling detail was that the man never uttered a single word. Anyone with innocent intentions would have spoken up, offered some kind of explanation, or at least acknowledged why they were following two people through the woods. But this masked figure stayed completely silent, continuing his pursuit without any apparent reason. The same question kept cycling through both of their minds. Why was this man after them? They were the ones who had come to explore, yet somehow they had become the ones being hunted. Every attempt to gain distance seemed to count for nothing. Hemmed in by thick trees and a body of water on one side, they were essentially funneled along a single route. The same one the masked man was cutting off. With a machete in his hand, they understood that one wrong move could transform the situation into something catastrophic. If things turned violent, there would be no easy way out. They kept their composure as best they could and focused on maintaining distance without provoking any direct confrontation. For close to 10 minutes, the masked man tracked them through the forest, moving with an unnerving blend of composure and menace. Then, with nowhere left to retreat, Corey and his friend made a desperate call. They killed their lights and pressed themselves down into the undergrowth, hoping the darkness would swallow them up and break whatever the masked man had planned.
Where's he at? gotta make it out, y'all. Just walk the meds. Listen. Let's go. Let's go. Go, let's go. We gotta go. Shit, you got it. He knows we gotta work. He saw us again, y'all. This guy, he won't stop. He won't stop. I'm scared to death, y'all.
When it became clear that hiding wasn't going to save them, and the man was still somewhere close by, Corey and his friend accepted that there was only one move left. They switched off their cameras, committed to running, and tore through the forest at full speed. The footage cuts out at that point, leaving everything that followed unrecorded. Corey later shared the full story on his channel, confirming that they both made it out of the woods without physical harm. But the experience left a mark that wasn't easy to shake, the haunting thought of how differently things could have ended. If the man had decided to lunge, if either of them had caught their foot on the uneven ground, if he had set up an ambush at just the right moment, the outcome would have been fatal. What made it especially disturbing was how persistently the man had followed them. A single sighting might have been brushed off as coincidence. Running into him twice could perhaps have been written off as someone else moving through the same trail. But the fact that he kept reappearing, consistently narrowing the distance, made it feel entirely deliberate. Each new detail added weight to the dread. The mask, the blade, the complete silence, and the refusal to engage in any kind of communication all pointed towards something deeply wrong. The fact that he maintained his grip on that weapon throughout the entire pursuit suggested he was either sending a wordless threat or patiently waiting for the right opening to act on it. And the mask itself said everything. He was out there doing something he absolutely could not afford to be identified for. He was concealing himself on purpose. Then there was the blood-soaked fence they had noticed before he ever appeared. Once the pieces were laid side by side, a grim picture started to form. Had he just killed something? Had someone been hurt? Was he chasing them specifically to silence whatever he didn't want discovered? The situation reached its most terrifying point when the pair cut their lights and buried themselves in the brush. Rather than losing track of them, the masked man began slashing violently at the surrounding vegetation with his blade, showing absolutely no concern for whether he might hit them. He wasn't searching blindly, he was actively trying to cause harm in the dark. What made it even more horrifying was how unhurried he seemed throughout all of it. He moved with the quiet certainty of someone who believed his targets had nowhere left to go. He wasn't rushing because in his mind, he didn't have to. He was tightening the snare at his own pace. The question that lingered longest was what might have happened if the two had gotten separated out there. Staying together may well have been the single factor that kept them alive. Facing an unknown armed individual as a pair gave them a fighting chance that neither would have had alone. If he had managed to isolate either one of them, there would have been no hesitation. He would have acted. Sticking together was the decision that got them out. Crossing paths with an armed and unhinged person in the depths of a remote forest is a nightmare scenario under any circumstances, but it becomes lethal when the person behind the mask operates without reason or restraint. If his presence out there had been harmless, he would never have been lurking in a secluded trail at night, face hidden, weapons drawn. There is only one explanation for moving through pitch black woods like that, masked and armed. He was looking for someone to use them on. That night, Corey and his friend became exactly what he was searching for. They weren't stumbling through nature, they were being hunted by another human being. They made it out, barely, and the whole ordeal stands as a brutal reminder of why anyone venturing into remote areas needs to be prepared for the very worst. It is a sobering testament to just how fast an ordinary trip into the wilderness can spiral into a desperate life or death struggle. A solo camper headed deep into a frozen wilderness for an overnight winter camping experiment. With temperatures sinking to 12 degrees, he had no clue his gear trail was about to spiral into something genuinely terrifying. The plan seemed straightforward enough: put a terracotta pot heating system through its paces inside his tent under brutal cold weather conditions. But once darkness closed in and the mercury kept falling, the surrounding forest began producing sounds he simply couldn't account for. By 10 o'clock, the solitude started pressing down on him. He admitted the place felt far more unsettling at night when you're out there completely on your own. And this wasn't even his first strange experience at this location. On a previous visit, he recorded something he couldn't explain, a mysterious light glowing deep among the trees where there was absolutely no reason for one to exist. And now he was back at that very same spot. Inside the tent, he'd arranged his sleeping setup with several layers of blankets, an electric blanket his wife relied on throughout the winter, and his makeshift heating rig, 3 tea candles positioned underneath the terracotta pot with a metal chimney running up through the top. That's when the first sign appeared that something wasn't right.
Let's hear that. Sounds like somebody whistling. And that's impossible. I mean, not impossible, but highly improbable.
That's a tree squeaking. Sounds like something walking. I will seriously crap my pants if we get some knocks back tonight. Did hear like something moving over there when I did it. That light's not there tonight. On that last live I did out here, right before I left, there was a light right back in there. Whew. Man, so much creepier when you're by yourself. And like I said, there's so many frickin' sounds out here right now, making it even spookier. And there was just something was growling out there. Whew. I am armed, but man, that sounded scary. See if it growls again. Whew. That was scary. My heart's about to pound out of my chest. That was a crazy sound. I don't hear anything now. It's been a couple minutes. I didn't even hear it walking around at all. It was just a growl. It's sort of like a snort growl. I don't know. Weird to explain. Man, what is going on out there? Do you hear that? It's so cold. It just keeps...
He made it through his winter camping ordeal, but the real question lingered. What had actually been prowling outside his tent in the dark? And what did it want? Some things are better left unexplored, particularly when you're miles from civilization, in a frozen landscape, where the unknown lurking just past the tree line can be every bit as dangerous as the cold itself. Deep in the forest, long after dark, one hiker came across something that stopped them cold. A handwritten cardboard sign nailed to a tree. The words on it read, "Press shift to run." There was nothing amusing about it. It carried the unmistakable weight of a warning, as if something threatening was lurking just out of sight. Whether some sick-minded prankster put it there or the danger was very real, this person wasn't about to hang around and figure it out. On February 1st, 2025, a man named Andre made his way deep into a brutal winter wilderness, looking for some solitude and hoping to capture the experience on video. He set up camp, and as darkness settled in, he found himself with an unexpected and terrifying audience, a pack of wolves closing in around him. He later posted the footage to his YouTube channel, Wild Happiness, a platform where he documents his life in raw, isolated landscapes. Andre regularly ventures into the taiga, living in close proximity to wild animals, and traveling through some of the most remote terrain imaginable. On this particular trip, he rode out into the forest on a snowmobile, and along the way he demonstrated his bushcraft skills, hunting small game and cooking meals out in the open wilderness. When he finally reached his chosen spot, he dug his tent into the snow, got a compact wood stove going for warmth, and settled in with some food and hot tea. As the night wore on, he lay down and eventually began to drift off to sleep. Then something snapped him awake, the sound of movement just outside. It started soft, barely noticeable, then grew steadily louder. Whimpers, howls, paw steps circling the tent. There was no mistaking it. A wolf pack had moved in around his campsite.
Короче, друзья, блин, я же слышал. Капец, реально волки, друзья. Во-во-во, прям вообще хорошо слышно. Да ну нафиг, я короче домой.
Andre pushed outside to get a sense of what he was dealing with, but the second he registered just how close those animals actually were, he turned right back around and ducked inside. With no hunting rifle on him, waiting until morning wasn't an option. He needed to get out of there immediately. Exploring with Angelo waded through thick snow up to his knees just to reach this haunted farmhouse, a property over a century old where the same family had resided for more than 100 years. A child connected to the home is believed to have passed away on the premises. Something deeply unsettling is thought to have taken place in one particular room. Angelo had visited before, and each return trip had been more disturbing than the last.
It literally sounded like somebody was coming up the stairs. There it is again. Hello? Okay, I definitely heard that. Go check. Somebody here? What the hell? It literally sounded like somebody was coming right up these stairs. Dude, I heard that clear as day. Sorry, I do have the camera on the tripod still, so it's a little awkward. Hello? Yeah, oops. Well, that was strange. Dude, that was like clear as day. Legit sounded like somebody was coming up the stairs. Maybe something came up? What is that? I don't know, whatever. Okay, I want to get this fire going as quickly as possible. I'm gonna finish setting this up. The one annoying thing is can't find the poker, whatever you call it, for the charcoals. So I had to bring my shovel, and I'll just use a piece of that just to kind of, be able to move things around. Now I don't think, I'm trying to think, should I go like full length or?
He hadn't even finished getting his equipment set up when footsteps began climbing the staircase. Unmistakably clear, he froze and listened. They happened again. There was no one else in that building.
Coming down the stairs. What the hell was that? Huh? Okay, that was freaky. What the heck was that? Okay, I don't see anything. It legit almost sounded like something was coming down the stairs. I need to go up there. I have money in my pocket for now. He's at the front door? What? Who's at the front door? Is that Charles? Let me just change something here. We just got another meme. I had to stop for a second because I had to change a setting on the microphone. Got this new microphone. It's got like multiple different angle settings, and it's actually pretty damn cool. Okay, clearly there's nothing up here. I mean, we would have seen something. What was that? I'm kind of nervous about going. What the hell? Why did it just sound like there was something up? What was that?
Car trouble.
Huh? Okay, what's also weird is it said something was he's at the front door. I'm not really too sure who he would be, to be honest with you guys. What? Who's in my car?
The spirit box announced he was standing at the front door, then produced two names, Charles and Logan. Angelo went to investigate. A single knock rang out from the sealed front door. Snow blanketed everything outside. Not a single footprint in sight.
Oh. Okay. Oh. What the heck? what is going on right now? Dude, it was like 3 different things. What the hell? Okay, something was just moving behind me. It sounded like it walked through that glass. Whoa. Alright, somebody messing with me? Is that you, little boy? Whoa. That's crazy. Dude, that was like a 360. Holy shit. Whoa. That literally sounded like it was right here. Like as if something went through this pile of glass or something. Is there something like in the bathroom? I would have seen that. There's no way. No, there's nothing here. Just poop there, apparently. What the holy crap. And then it sounded like there was something back here. If you're here, close. I don't even know what that just said, but if you're here, close that door for me. I'm gonna actually close this one.
Something swept through the entire room in a full 360 degrees, sounds erupting from every direction simultaneously. And then whatever it was walked straight through a pile of shattered glass. A deep, low hum then filled the space. Angelo spun around and found himself staring at his own reflection in a fractured mirror, distorted, warped, barely recognizable. He said it genuinely terrified him.
Holy crap. Okay, is it the wind? Dude, when I push this, it legitimately feels like there's like a force pushing it back. Cool. Cool. Dude, there's literally something pushing back on the door.
I know.
Like, whoa, I know. Okay.
Insight.
Can you let me close the door completely, please? Dude, there's literally like, I'm not even kidding. The amount of force. Like, you guys saw me completely close that door moments ago. Something is doing that. I don't know what the hell is doing that. Hang on. Okay. Like, what? There's nothing pushing back on this door. But for some reason, when I get to about there, there's something, like some kind of force pushing it back. I've never seen that happen here before. Whew.
Angelo attempted to shut the door, but something pushed back, not the force of wind. He could physically feel resistance every time it got close to latching. He tried again and again. Something on the other side was refusing to let it close. He gathered his things and walked out. At 1 a.m, with the camera still rolling, he detected the smell of meat being cooked. No neighboring houses, no active stove, nothing. A hunter set up a trail camera deep in the forest, with the intention of tracking wildlife activity, but what it ended up capturing was anything but ordinary. The footage revealed an odd, concealed figure, something that simply didn't appear to be human. The entity kept shifting its position, moving laterally at times, then disappearing entirely before showing up even closer to the lens. Its motions were sluggish, unsettling, and nearly impossible to make sense of. The hunter was left both bewildered and genuinely unnerved, so he made the decision to upload the footage for the world to see. Some viewers were convinced it was a spirit up to something sinister, while others argued it could be an otherworldly creature with no connection to this planet. To this day, nobody has managed to come up with a satisfying explanation, a truly mysterious presence. Sakhalin Island lies along Russia's eastern edge, just above Japan, flanked by the frigid waters of the Sea of Okhotsk and the Pacific Ocean. It's among the most isolated and unforgiving corners of the country, a land of thick forests, brutal winters, and one of the densest brown bear populations anywhere in Russia. For the locals and workers who call Sakhalin home, running into a bear is nothing extraordinary. It's simply reality. But there's a gap between knowing a danger exists and truly respecting what it means. In one June day, a group of construction workers found out exactly how wide that gap could be. The men were part of a work crew posted at a remote job site. Information about who they were has stayed scarce, which isn't surprising given how little tends to come out of Russia's more isolated regions. What we do know is that at least 5 workers were there, along with a dog that had been hanging around the crew. At some point, the men spotted something near the site, a bear cub, small and seemingly unbothered, wandering close without any sign of fear. Instead of backing away, the workers did what people too often do in that situation. They stopped, they watched, and one of them pulled out a phone and hit record. The footage begins with what looks like a lighthearted standoff between the cub and the dog, the two of them darting back and forth like they're playing a game. You can hear the workers laughing in the background, relaxed, entertained, completely at ease. Nobody sounds worried. One of the men even cracks a joke about winning, as though it were some kind of contest between the dog and the cub. Then a second cub shows up. Even then, no alarm. The dog keeps engaging, the men keep watching, and the mood stays light. But here's what every wildlife expert and every person who has ever lived near bear country will tell you without hesitation. Where there are cubs, the mother is close, always. And a mother brown bear who thinks her young are in any kind of danger is among the most lethal animals on Earth. She doesn't issue a warning, she doesn't fake a charge, she comes at you full force, and she doesn't quit until the threat is gone. In the final moments of the clip, the mother steps out from the tree line behind both cubs, as if she had been standing there the whole time, sizing up the situation. One of the men seems to catch a glimpse of her and mutter something about her circling around them.
Сейчас она ему поймает. Ты понял? Сейчас она сзади него пошла. Угорел, я никуда полетел. Вот, это уже не пуля. Нет места. Вот, так я уже эту всю флешку снимал. Ничего себе.
But there's no time for anyone to move. The mother snarls and launches herself straight toward the dog, and the camera cuts out immediately. No more laughing, no more voices, just sudden silence. Joseph is a West Virginia fisherman from up north who spent most of his life chasing the perfect catch. From quiet backwoods creeks, to remote ponds, to road trips across new stretches of water, he's built a whole audience around sharing those adventures. But on this particular outing at Lake Cray, things went somewhere nobody expected. The day kicked off the way these trips usually do. Joseph and his buddy Rick squeezed a canoe between their 2 trucks, barely fitting the thing, and pushed off for what was meant to be a laid-back maiden voyage. The afternoon's fishing haul was, well, let's put it this way. It wasn't exactly wall-mount worthy. They kept reeling in what Joseph affectionately calls dinksters, those stunted little bass that never quite develop in an overpopulated pond. But anyone who's spent time outdoors knows the real stories tend to unfold once the sun goes down. As darkness settled in, Joseph decided to stay behind and try his hand at night fishing for catfish, while Rick headed back home. He just set up his brand new Bushnell pop-up tent and was feeling pretty good about it until 2 a.m.
I just woke up. I heard something like a weird noise. What the hell is it? There's something out there. There's what the? Yeah, that sounds like a bear, like for real. Oh shit. I think Oh man, it like pushed my whole tent in right here. I'm about to go look. I'm gonna wait a little bit. I thought I heard it kind of run away. I don't know how to.
When this went down. After finally working up the nerve to peek outside, the bear is nowhere to be seen, or at least not in plain view. Joseph wastes no time throwing together the biggest fire he can build, counting on the light and heat to discourage the animal from circling back. So honestly, what's your read on this? Was that a black bear just nosing around out of curiosity, or something with a little more intent, sizing up the campsite as a potential food source? Black bears in West Virginia are no rarity, and they can turn dangerous fast, especially once they start connecting human campsites with an easy meal. All things considered, Joseph kept his head, he stayed composed, grabbed some protection, and made the right calls about the fire and the possibility of retreating to his truck. The video wraps up with Joseph still unsettled, weighing whether to stick it out in the tent or just accept defeat and sleep in the cab. Because sometimes when you're out there alone in bear country, the wisest thing you can do is recognize when the wilderness has the upper hand. This clip comes from the YouTube channel Tim Morozov, a Russian channel devoted to investigating life's great mysteries in pursuit of answers and proof of the unexplained. Though Tim is widely recognized for his creepy content, he also documents a range of personal endeavors, including hands-on DIY projects where he constructs everything from household furniture to a fully converted camper van. In this particular video, Tim heads into a forest that locals have long regarded with dread, thanks to its deeply unsettling folklore. According to the legends, a mysterious sorcerer is said to dwell somewhere deep in those woods. Some say he stands as a guardian between our world and unimaginable horrors, while others believe he himself is the origin of the darkness that haunts the area. Regardless of where the truth lies, the legend runs deep in the region, and the vast majority of people steer clear of those woods, particularly once the sun goes down. Tim, however, is not the type to stay away. Driven by a need to find answers, he decides to spend a full night camping in this notorious forest, with the hope of catching sight of the elusive sorcerer. It's July 16th, 2023. As the sun begins sinking toward the horizon, Tim and his faithful dog Kutchum make their way to the forest's edge, scouting for the right place to pitch camp. On the surface, the woods appear entirely unremarkable. Tall trees shifting softly in the wind, birdsong drifting down through the branches above. Yet despite how ordinary everything looks, Tim can't quite rid himself of the creeping unease working its way up his spine. He reminds himself why he made the trip, pulls himself together, and pushes further into the darkness ahead. Once he finds a suitable spot and gets camp set up, Tim begins to feel somewhat more settled. He grabs a quick bite to eat and takes a moment to unwind, soaking in the quiet sounds of the forest before night takes over. Not wanting to attract unwanted attention, he decides to skip building a fire. Better to remain inconspicuous if there's anyone or anything moving through these trees. As the hours tick by, darkness swallows the forest whole, and an eerie calm descends over everything. Then, just as Tim is about to duck into his tent for the night, Kutchum suddenly stiffens, ears straight up, gaze locked onto something out in the distance.
Кучум.
Completely on edge, Tim freezes. Kutchum isn't a dog who barks at nothing, and the intensity of his reaction sends a cold shiver straight through Tim. He holds his breath and strains to listen to the surrounding silence, quietly hoping that whatever has grabbed his dog's attention poses no real danger. But as the seconds stretch on and nothing can be heard, Kutchum's barking only grows louder and more urgent. Knowing he can't keep ignoring it, Tim takes a slow breath, braces himself, and carefully steps out of the tent to investigate.
Кучум.
Кучум, ты куда? Ты чувствуешь кого-то? Здесь есть кто?
Tim peers out into the dark, but nothing appears to be out of place. Still, Kutchum stays locked onto something invisible, his whole body rigid, his barking unrelenting. The heavy silence of the forest makes the whole situation feel even more unnerving, and that familiar dread begins crawling up Tim's spine again. Trusting his gut, he reaches for the thermal camera he had the foresight to bring along. If something or someone is lurking out there, this should reveal it. He draws a slow breath, lifts the camera, and begins sweeping it across the tree line, searching for whatever is setting Kutchum off. Worn down from the long day and the mounting tension, Tim finally retreats into his tent, trying to push the uneasy feeling aside. Kutchum, still unsettled, eventually curls up next to him, though his ears stay alert, tuned into every sound from outside. As a precaution, Tim leaves his camera recording through the night, just in case anything unusual happens while he sleeps. He shuts his eyes and tries to get some rest. Hours of silence pass, until Kutchum suddenly erupts into barking again.
Кучум. Кучум.
His dog was going again, but Tim, figuring it was probably just some nearby animal, held off for a few minutes, expecting Kutchum to wander back on his own. But as time passed and the barking abruptly went quiet, Kutchum was still nowhere near the tent. With his concern mounting and no sign of the dog, Tim pulled himself up and headed outside to figure out what was happening.
Кучум. Кучум. Друзья, я не знаю, что делать. Прошло уже 2 часа. Как я зову Кучума, он не приходит. Я надеюсь, что ничего плохого не произошло. И он всего лишь погнался за каким-нибудь зверем. Или просто ушел погулять. Кучум!
Kutchum was gone, and even after standing there for some time hoping he'd come trotting back, there was still no trace of him. Growing more anxious by the minute and unsure of his next move, Tim chose to light a fire, hoping the glow and warmth would help guide his dog back to camp if he had somehow gotten turned around in the dark. He waits out the rest of the night, but even as morning light filters through the trees, there is still no sign of Kutchum. Deeply worried, Tim lingers for a couple more hours, turning his options over in his mind. Heading out to search meant risking being somewhere else entirely if Kutchum came back on his own. But staying put while his dog might be in trouble didn't sit right either. The hours continued to pass with no sign of him. Tim's food and water were running low, and the day was getting on. Eventually, with a heavy heart, Tim begins slowly gathering his things, still holding on to the hope that Kutchum might yet return.
Палатку. Если он сейчас объявится, то мы дальше продолжим путь. Пока он не пришел, я остаюсь здесь.
With everything packed up, Tim made the painful choice to go looking for Cutchum. He had held out for so long, and by now he was convinced that if his dog had any way of coming back, he would have already. With desperation driving him forward, Tim pushed into the thick of the woods, calling out and whistling, straining for any response from his loyal companion. The footage ends there, leaving viewers gripped with anxiety and wondering whether Tim ever found him. No update accompanied this video at the time, but Tim later posted a more recent clip in which Cutchum appears happy and in good health, confirming that the two were eventually reunited. While the shadowy sorcerer said to haunt these woods never made an appearance on camera, what matters most is that both Tim and Cutchum came out of it safe. The experience served as a powerful reminder of just how quickly things can go sideways when you venture into vast uncharted wilderness, and how little it takes for a quiet night in the forest to turn into something far more harrowing. On April 21st, 2025, Maria posted a new video to her channel, Roaming Reckless, a platform dedicated to solo camping in its most unfiltered state. Wild, unpredictable, and at times deeply unsettling. Her approach never glamorizes nature. She captures it truthfully, rough edges and all. For this outing, Maria headed into the North Georgia mountains hoping for a calm night of car camping, accompanied by nothing but her dog Cassie. What started as a quiet getaway, however, quickly showed her just how fierce the wilderness can be. The trip hit snags before it even began. Without adequate rain gear and a storm already building on the horizon, Maria made a last-second detour to a local outfitter, using a gifted REI card to grab just enough to keep going. By the time she pulled back onto the road, the sky had gone dark, mist threading through the trees as she pushed deeper into territory the locals have long associated with Bigfoot. She found a secluded pull-off well away from any crowds, and as she reversed her vehicle into a lopsided, uneven clearing, barely wide enough to fit, rain began hammering down. A cold, long-dead fire pit suggested someone had been here before, but something about tonight felt entirely different.
Looks like a good enough spot to me. There's a fire pit right here, so obviously people have camped at this pull-off. Spooky, middle of the woods. I'm just gonna back the Grenadier in. Obviously, safety purposes. Leveling out. This entire pull-off is on a slant and it just gets worse that way, so we're just gonna stick to right here. Okay. This is amazing. We probably have about an hour with rain being a little bit lighter, so it's perfect because we can set up, do dinner, let Tazzy out. I can hear myself echo here when I barely talk. Hello? Okay. Woohoo! Sasquatch! Come hither.
Cassie wandered through the wet brush, restless in a way that wasn't like her. Maria tried to keep spirits up, but the thunder growling overhead made that harder with every rumble. As evening settled in, the forest seemed to close around them, fog thickening, shadows stretching long across the dripping branches. Summoning a quiet kind of courage, Maria took Cassie out for one last walk before the storm hit its stride. Stepping into that dense, dripping haze felt like crossing into another dimension entirely. Her flashlight barely made a dent in the murk, shapes shifted in the darkness at the edges, and even Cassie pulled back.
I don't want to go over here, but I have to. This is scary. Let's go. Come on. Gotta be quick. Let's go. Come on. Come on. Go potty. Good girl. Good job, Mama. Alright, come on. Up here. That was like a horror video game. That's what that felt like. Oh my gosh. I'm like triple check we're locked in. That was so creepy. Oh, that just gave me like the heebie-jeebies. The thick fog, the rain, you can barely see. This is 1,000,000%.
Just after midnight, the storm hit full force. Maria bundled herself in blankets, shaking slightly, trying to anchor herself to a Bigfoot documentary playing on her phone, while branches cracked outside and the wind pressed hard against the vehicle. Cassie flinched at every thunderclap, eyes fixed on the blackness beyond the windows. By 3 a.m, the worst had finally let up. The thunder retreating, the rain settling into a low, persistent patter. The night had made one thing perfectly clear. Solitude doesn't need a monster to feel haunted.
Lightning. Here it comes. It's okay, Tazzy. That was a loud one. Let's put on your thunder shirt, mamas, before you start freaking out too much. Tazzy, work with me here, woman. Thunder shirt is on. She is still shaking, however. I did see comments in the last thunderstorm episode of people saying that playing something in the background like music or TV show should help during a thunderstorm, so we're gonna just keep playing the Bigfoot show. And Tazzy's got her thunder shirt on, and hopefully it helps.
We're in a car driving along in a rural area near Monroe, Michigan.
Michigan?
It was breaking those limbs off. We're not It's curious.
Dawn broke beneath a washed-out gray sky, fog still wrapped tight around the tree line. Everything was drenched, but Cassie bounded through the woods without a care, all traces of last night's dread gone from her entirely. Maria climbed out, coffee warming her hands, eyes drifting along the ridge. The forest sat in an almost eerie stillness, as though the storm had swept something away with it on its way out. For Maria, this night was never really about legends or creatures lurking in the dark. It was about standing face to face with the wild in its most raw and unrelenting form. The storm had moved on, but the weight of it stayed, etched into her as a reminder of what it means to truly be alone out there. Uploaded on January 11th, 2025, this clip originates from a channel called Wiggins Wild World, operated by a couple named Coyne and Victoria, who document their off-grid homesteading life out in the Arizona desert. Their content is usually pretty upbeat: land development updates, unconventional gardening methods, and a genuine passion for living off the land. But during one of their very first walks across their newly acquired 20-acre property, they stumbled onto something that nobody wants to find, and what started as an exciting adventure may have crossed into the territory of real tragedy. The two are out hiking, trying to pin down the corner boundaries of their first 5-acre section. The mood is light, they're having fun, soaking in the rugged beauty of the Sonoran landscape, until Coyne spots 2 old Mexican peso coins just sitting in the dirt.
First we found a couple pesos and we were like, that's cute, washed away from
random.
Mexico.
Like, I was just walking, I kept finding stones, and then all of a sudden I looked down and I thought it was an Apple AirTag, and it was
2 pesos.
2 pesos from 90.
The coins are dated 1992 and 1998. Strange, sure, but not exactly alarming on its own. Their initial thought was that the coins had been carried down through the dry wash over time, but then the situation takes a turn.
Kid's backpack, like a kid-sized backpack, which wouldn't be too alarming or anything, but it's in the wash. And a little while ago, just randomly walking through here, we found 2 pesos, 2 peso coins, and we found a little kid's shoe. So I'm hopefully somebody's stuff got accidentally washed down from the wash, but I really, really hope we don't find something gruesome in the area on the new property, because that would suck pretty bad.
Yeah.
Because we are so close to the border.
There's a backpack, a shoe, and some monies.
Yeah, I really hope we don't find some person or persons that
We're trying to make their grand escape.
Yeah.
Oof. Oh.
Victoria comes across a child-sized Puma backpack, weathered, partially buried, and visibly ripped apart. The front pocket is shredded in a way that doesn't suggest ordinary wear and tear. Not far from it, they spot a small child's shoe, sun-bleached and crumbling, but there's no mistaking what it is. What makes it deeply unsettling is that all 3 items, the coins, the backpack, and the shoe, are clustered in the same general area, underneath a large tree, close to what looks like a pack rat nest.
Yeah, right there. And I'll show you the bone.
So it would be different if it was just the shoe. So we found a little kid's shoe. We found a little kid's backpack. And we found this bone under that tree.
Who knows, though? Sorry, buddy. Those are deer bones? Hope so. Doesn't that look like a really clean cut there?
Oh, shit, yeah, it does.
And then comes the bone. It's long, smooth, and slightly curved, possibly a femur, and small enough that it could have come from a child, though whether it's human or animal isn't immediately clear. Victoria voices the thought out loud, wondering if it might have belonged to a young kid. Coin is visibly shaken, but tries to keep himself steady, cracking a nervous joke about the last thing he wanted was to uncover a crime scene on his brand new property. But more bones turn up close by, and at least one of them appears to have a clean, deliberate cut, the kind that suggests a blade was involved. They keep the camera rolling, carefully documenting everything while confronting what the evidence might actually mean. This part of Arizona sits along well-known migrant corridors. People attempting to cross the Sonoran Desert on foot face brutal heat, severe dehydration, and in many cases, the dangers of human trafficking. Children's belongings found alongside what could be human remains points toward a possible connection to that ongoing humanitarian crisis. After leaving the property, they reach out to the local sheriff's department on a non-emergency line, and a deputy agrees to come out and take a look. Coin and Victoria get ready to walk the officer through everything they found, still without any real answers about what they're dealing with. No identification, no clear story, no resolution. It's exactly the kind of discovery that stays with you. They're holding on to hope that the bones belong to a deer, but the weight of what they may have found isn't something either of them can easily shake. As always, drop your thoughts on this one down in the comments. 6 p.m., the light is already going, the pack is pulling at his shoulders, and somewhere deep in these trees, military witnesses once described a craft that had no business being on this planet. He's banking on having just enough time to get in, get settled, and survive the night. But darkness has its own agenda, especially in places you probably shouldn't be. You'll want to see where this goes. Our fourth entry tonight features Louis Pilgrim Wilde, a filmmaker who drags his camera equipment into the exact locations most people only ever Google. Tonight, he's standing in Rendlesham Forest, Suffolk, Britain's answer to Roswell, where US Air Force personnel reported a UFO touchdown back in December 1980. A forest concealing a double military encounter is precisely the kind of place where the dark seems to carry extra weight. He made it back with the footage intact.
In December 1980, trained military personnel reported something potentially extraterrestrial landed right about here, and tonight I'm sleeping here alone.
You're looking at the edge of the Suffolk coast, and back then these trees wrapped right around 2 US Air Force bases, and it wasn't just one man, multiple servicemen, 3 separate nights, including one of their senior officers, which is why this place earned a nickname, Britain's Roswell.
Right, I've just pulled up at this parking spot. I don't really know if you're supposed to park here, but who cares? I'm gonna head in that way. That is where the landing site is. I've got my gear packed again. It's so heavy once again because I'm bringing all my camera and stuff. Hopefully I don't have to walk too far. Let's begin our mission through the woods. Keep away from sheer face. That sounds fun. It's not really that sheer, is it? I actually don't know where I'm going. Okay, I can relax a bit because I'm hidden now. This woodland though, it's gonna be so good to pitch up in. The floor's nice and flat, comfy. There's loads of ferns I can cut down to lay.
He's scanning the clearing when gunshots crack through the tree line. Loud, sharp, near enough to shift the atmosphere from peaceful nature walk to something far more unsettling. Whatever calm existed before is gone.
You can barely, I can't even see it at all anymore. Second reason is because by the time I get back, I think it's gonna be dark. It's gonna be horrible walking through these woods. I also don't have any phone service, which is extra cool. I just want to try and get to a shop or something as quick as I can, get a lighter, and then get back. Oh, such a mission. Finally, right, let's complete our mission. Well, we might not even complete it, we might get abducted. Let's carry on though. Okay, I've pulled up at a parking spot. I think this is a bit closer, but it's very dark, so I'm gonna have to run in with my torch on the go. It's gonna be horrible, but let's get it done. I'm just not even gonna look anywhere. It's too scary. One of the things I actually don't like about torches at night is that, yeah, you can see in front of you, but someone or something else can see you from miles away.
That's that pig field. He's navigating by flashlight now, a narrow beam carving maybe 10 feet of visibility ahead, while the rest of the forest stares back from the blackness beyond it. Everything out there can track his position from half a mile away. He's essentially broadcasting his location.
This is not ideal. No, it all looks the same. I swear it was here, man. Need to see where I am. I think I've gone too far. Right, what does it look like around here? No. Oh, it's a bit closer. Oh, it might be there, actually.
Every pine tree looks identical, no signal. That particular internal voice starts talking. Not lost yet, but getting there. He sets himself a hard deadline: locate the tent within the next few minutes, or leave the gear behind and head for the road. He finds it, then he's back outside raiding the trail camera, ears tuned to anything that might be doing the same to him. The crickets are still going. That matters. That's the signal worth holding on to.
Yeah, that was just an army plane. I heard like big booms, like bombs, but no, we're good. Oh, there's people around again. Why is there people around? It's literally 11 PM. Stinks in here. It's too good in here. And it's the morning, and I've survived. 18 minutes past 11.
Midnight. Military aircraft cutting low overhead. Thunder rolling in from somewhere in the distance. Then footsteps. Human movement at 11 p.m. out here in Rendlesham Forest. He goes dead quiet inside the tent and waits for whoever that is to move on. Sunrise comes. He checks the trail camera. Nothing out of the ordinary. Recorded. He breaks camp, drives out to the RAF base perimeter, and stands on the very ground those servicemen stood on in 1980. Close enough to feel the weight of it, close enough to genuinely wonder what they encountered that night. Would you have lasted till morning? Our next clip follows YouTuber Brendan Explores on a trip to Lake Fernway in Wales back in July 2022, where he had plans to spend the night stealth camping right by the water. The area had signs posted warning against overnight parking and camping, but the idea was to blend in quietly using an ordinary car.
Looks like some people have already beaten me to it. That's definitely a camper there. Right, here we go. The infamous signs. Let me show you. No.
He then shifted to a different spot along the lakeside, blacking out the windows and tucking everything out of sight to settle in for the night.
So I've ended up moving from that fly-infested spot. After I ate those kebabs, I just thought there's no way I'm going to sleep here tonight. So I'm going to do my very best at trying to air the car out of all those flies. It was an absolute nightmare. There's a couple buzzing around, whether those are the ones that I've brought in my air along the way. But yeah, look at this absolutely beautiful spot here. All stealthed up. One absolutely epic evening. If it wasn't for those goddamn flies, which there's a couple still in here now, it would have been perfect. Anyway, I don't think there's anything left to do now, apart from getting dressed, get into bed.
Then came 3 a.m., and with it, a set of headlights. A vehicle rolled up and aimed its lights straight at the car.
I can see headlights. Who the was that? They just drove off. Didn't shout anything. Didn't ask if anyone's in here. Gave a couple knocks, shone the light in, and drove off. Shit. I thought someone had come back then, Jesus. What do I do? What do I do? The fact that they left makes me think that they're probably just going to leave me be now. I'm going to see how it goes for the next half hour or so. What time is it? 1 o'clock in the morning. Man. That is one absolutely terrifying feeling. Right, I'm going to keep an ear out for a bit. I'll let you know if anyone returns. Fingers crossed they don't. And if you don't hear from me before morning, they've naffed off. Well, that's one hell of a wake up I've ever had one. Jeez. Anyway, about the rest of my evening. It was probably about 3:30. A van pulled up, lights turned on directly at the car. No one got out. Probably for about 15 minutes, the car was just sat there with the lights shining on the car. I decided not to move because I'd already bed down for the night. It was gone, well, by the time they'd left, it had nearly 4 o'clock in the morning. It wasn't going to be long before the daylight hit. So I decided just to wait it out. I managed to get maybe an hour at about 7 o'clock, and I just dozed in till about...
That's the gamble with stealth camping somewhere that's clearly posted as off limits. Getting found out is always on the table. But when it happens in the dead of night, the whole situation starts to feel a lot more unsettling. You've probably spent a night under the stars at some point, maybe cooked something over a fire, swapped a few stories, and woken up the next morning completely unbothered. But what do you do when the forest suddenly goes dead quiet and something out in the dark starts answering back? Tonight's third video comes from Shields Viking Outdoors, a wild camping channel out of the UK with a strong Geordie personality, think traditional bushcraft, and wilderness survival blended with easygoing northern humor. They cover gear, outdoor cooking, and every now and then find themselves poking around in the shadows of remote forests. Skeptical enough to stay grounded, but open enough to keep filming. They got out in one piece, and they brought the footage with them. It's May 28th, 2026. A secret woodland somewhere in the United Kingdom.
Cooking me burgers, and me and Kev have just heard loads and loads of different noises in the woodland. Like, I don't even think they're normal noises, are they? Like usually I'm not bothered about stuff like noises and that. Well, as you know, I'm quite a skeptic. But trying to explain them away to myself while I'm sitting here, and then you think about, well, no, because it's middle of the night, there's not going to be certain animals out. You can hear like twigs snapping. Kev got a cold breeze.
The usual ambient sounds of the forest give way to twigs cracking in the darkness, and despite it being a warm summer evening, Kev suddenly gets hit by a sharp, localized cold blast of air, like someone swung open a freezer right beside him. That's when they start talking about doing a late night walk around the area.
What was that in here over that direction? Behind the tent. There's some kind of woodpecker. Hammering the tree. Oh, I hope it's a woodpecker anyway. Whatever it is wants to stay away from my new tent. Better. It's time. This is history in the making. I'm actually going to open.
Mid-conversation with the camera about upcoming trips, a loud, sharp knocking erupts from somewhere beyond the trees. The creator stops dead mid-sentence. He tries to talk himself down. Probably a woodpecker, he says. But his gaze stays locked on the dark tree line, and it's pretty clear he's not convincing himself.
Snapping. Need to be very careful where we're standing around here as well, because there's lumps and bumps absolutely everywhere. See how tall the trees are? Massive. Let me know in the comments if you can see anything around here as well, guys, because you might be able to see stuff that our eyes aren't picking up, or the camera isn't picking up while we're recording. Dull this light just a little bit. See if we can see any shadows, any shapes. Obviously this is base camp. You see Kev over there doing the exact same thing I am. Trying to get some eye shine.
Around 60 feet out from base camp, the two of them are scanning for animal eye shine when heavy footsteps and the crack of snapping wood start echoing from somewhere uncomfortably close. They stop moving and sweep their lights through the undergrowth. Nothing there. The sounds keep going regardless. Then they reach it, a dense, specific stretch of the forest edge where Kev had already felt a deep, irrational sense of dread on a previous visit. The atmosphere shifts immediately. Heavy, charged. Low, unidentifiable sounds start coming from several directions at once. That feeling settles in fast and refuses to lift. They both sense it without saying it out loud. Something is keeping pace with them. Twigs snapping and rhythmic knocking where there should be silence. A cold pocket of air on a warm night that only one of them felt. Footsteps with no visible source, 60 feet from camp, and one particular corner of that woodland that felt wrong long before anything happened tonight. They broke camp at first light, carrying more questions than they came in with. Honestly, I'm not sure what to do with any of that. You've probably driven past a stretch of woodland 100 times and never given it a second thought. Just trees, a few birds, maybe someone out walking their dog. But once the light goes and you're standing inside it alone, that same patch of forest turns into something else entirely. A place where high-powered rifles and stray arrows aren't just hypothetical dangers. They're the kind of thing locals already know about. And it only gets heavier from here. Grizzly Gaz is a passionate outdoorsman from the UK who films his solo camping trips and wilderness adventures across the British Isles. Sometimes he brings his audience to locations tied to local legends, historical mysteries, and folklore. Other times, he simply documents overnight hikes with his French bulldog. This particular outing was supposed to be one of the latter. He had a brand new tarp shelter and a sleeping bag he wanted to put to the test. That was the whole plan. A quiet, uneventful night in the tranquil woodlands of Yorkshire. That is, until everything shifted once darkness arrived. In a scramble to get camp set up before the last of the daylight disappears, Gaz gathers his gear, his food, and his dog, and heads into the trees. There's just enough glow left on the horizon to scout out a secluded spot deep in the forest. He's looking for somewhere genuinely off the beaten path, well away from any other people who might be out there.
It's about 7:15 at night, so I need to get to camp because I need to do a bit of fire prep. Anyway, let's get to camp, shall we?
As he pushes further in looking for the right location, he comes across the remains of a previous camp. A charred mattress with its springs exposed sits at the heart of what someone apparently used as a campsite. Whoever was there last walked away and left their rubbish, toilet paper, and equipment scattered everywhere.
This looks like some knobbers have been here. Left a right fucking mess. Look at the state of it. Fucking burnt mattresses and that. Looks like this isn't a decent spot for me to camp anymore. But they've been fucking sawing trees down and that. What the fuck?
Without a second thought. Among the debris, Gaz spots an abandoned handsaw. It doesn't look broken or worn out, which makes it all the more puzzling why it was left behind. Were the previous occupants cutting down trees? There's no sign of any bushcraft structure nearby, and any seasoned camper knows that a good fire needs dry deadwood. People gathering kindling work with fallen branches and deadfall, not freshly cut green timber. None of it adds up, and there's nobody around to explain it. The site has clearly been deserted for some time, and Gaz is visibly frustrated by the lack of respect shown to this quiet corner of nature. With the light fading quickly, he decides to tidy the area and make camp.
Wrap up, sort fire pit out, find me grill, set tent up. I need to try and get a fire going now as well, and it's been pissing it down. But first, let's have a beer, shall we?
After finishing off his beer and waiting out a spell of rain, Gaz moves to get the fire going, and that's the moment the first strange thing of the evening happens.
We can get this going, shall we? Let's fuck that off. Get some of this oak in the bottom. I'm not going to have a massive fire tonight because I just want to cook my food. What the fuck was that? Just try to use.
Sharp cracking sounds, like branches snapping underfoot, begin echoing through the trees. Gaz doesn't seem overly alarmed at first, and carries on tending to his fire. But once he settles into his hammock, the noises get louder and closer, almost as though something is deliberately moving in his direction. To shake off the creeping tension, he fires up some steak and chicken for dinner, and for a little while, it does the trick. Gaz is anticipating a calm evening, the gentle pop of the campfire, and that earthy post-rain smell hanging in the air. But as it turns out, our fearless YouTuber isn't alone out here tonight. Whatever is out there isn't making any effort to move quietly. Gaz stops mid-sentence and scans the campsite, but nothing reveals itself. Given the local wildlife, he tells himself there's no real cause for alarm, at least not yet. Gaz and his dog, Fendi, settle in for the night, his mind still on the gear review he plans to wrap up before heading home, completely unprepared for what the next few hours will bring.
Max UL sleeping bag, but I'll probably do that in the morning. If not, it'll be another video. So subscribe for that, will you? Anyway, we're gonna chill out.
Just as Gaz says goodnight to his viewers, barely 2 hours pass before he's jolted awake by the unmistakable sound of something, or someone, moving through his campsite. He hushes Fendi inside the tent and holds his breath, trying to figure out what's happening on the other side of the fabric. Something is definitely moving around out there, but he can't work out whether it's walking on two legs.
What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? Come on, someone's fucking with us. Someone's got to be fucking with us, haven't they?
or 4. He stays still inside the tent. Every second stretches out. Beyond the sound of footsteps circling the site, strange noises begin filtering through the trees. At first they could pass for bird calls, maybe crows or ravens, but gradually the sound shifts into something much lower and far harder to identify. Gaz laces up his boots, straps on his headlamp, and steps outside to take a look for himself.
I know it's someone fucking with me. Got a big dog here. And a nice knife with your name on it. What the fuck?
Half wondering if it could be whoever trashed the campsite earlier, he calls out into the darkness, hoping his voice alone might be enough to send whatever's lurking back the way it came.
Well, this fucking wind's picked up now. Can't hear anything. Fuck, is it just wind or what? Am I paranoid?
He continues searching the perimeter, but comes up empty. Whatever is out there is staying well hidden beyond the tree line. He knows it hasn't gone far, but with nothing visible to confront, there's little he can do. If anything, standing exposed in the open might be the more dangerous move. He heads back to the hammock.
I think my mind's playing tricks on me. I kept hearing twigs breaking or branches breaking. You alright, mate? It's alright, chill out. And I heard it sounded like a pig, but we ain't got any pigs over here. In England. Well, not that I know of anyway. It seems to have fucked off now anyway, whatever it were. Fendi, will you just chill out a minute, mate? I'm trying to listen. I know you're not bothered about listening to what. Could have been people just fucking around, couldn't it? Try to scare me and that. Well.
Lying there, Gaz strains his ears, trying to gauge whether the disturbance is dying down. Mercifully, it seems to ease off a little. He gives sleep another shot, hoping this time it'll stick, but rest refuses to come. When Gaz calls out again, the sound of retreating footsteps answers him, as if someone is deliberately walking away. It becomes unmistakably clear that whoever is out there is a human being, and they're intentionally toying with him. But who does something like that, and why? The questions pile up in his head, each one more unsettling than the last. The fact that this person clearly isn't acting rationally makes the whole thing even more frightening. Leaving felt risky, but so did staying. Pushing through the undergrowth with some unknown individual, potentially watching his every move, wasn't exactly an appealing option either.
Someone just fucking about. It's gotta be.
sounds like they've fucked off now.
He forces himself to lie back down, ears tuned to every sound in the darkness, counting the hours until first light finally arrives. And eventually, it does.
I mean, if you can say good morning. I'm going to go out and have a look outside now and see if there's any damage around to the hammock. Well, everything looks untouched.
When Gaz checks his belongings in the morning, he's genuinely surprised to find that nothing has been touched or taken. With a wave of relief, he packs everything up and puts the forest and its unsettling secrets behind him. Walking out, Gaz is thankful to be leaving in one piece, but the nagging questions refuse to leave with him. Who was that person, and what were they doing out there? The campsite Gaz had chosen was deep in the woods, requiring a serious hike and real effort to reach. Nobody ends up there by chance. Sadly, those questions never got answered. But one thing is for certain. On October 26th, a trail camera snapped what seemed like an ordinary shot of a deer out in the darkness, but just a few minutes later, it recorded something else entirely. A towering, slender figure had appeared in the exact spot where the deer had been standing. Look carefully, and you can make out what appear to be legs beneath some kind of flowing garment, both feet flat against the ground. When they went back to investigate the following morning, something was immediately off. The deer's tracks were completely gone. In their place were deep, human-shaped footprints pressed into the earth, leading in both directions. To this day, nobody has been able to explain what left them. After 2 years living out of a van, this guy figured he'd encountered just about everything the road could throw at him. Strange weather, unsettling sounds in the dead of night, nothing that ever truly rattled him. Then came 5:29 in the morning. He'd pulled over in a rural lay-by just outside Sunderland. Low-key spot, totally off the beaten path, nothing surrounding him but dark open fields and the odd farm building sitting somewhere in the distance. He'd stayed up late putting together a vlog, and when he finally passed out, he was out cold, until a thunderous bang against the side of the van ripped him straight out of sleep. Disoriented and barely conscious, he reached over and pulled the blind down. There was a face pressed against the glass, looking right at him. It doesn't matter how rational you think you are, or how many solo nights you've logged in a vehicle, nothing in the world gets you ready for that moment. He went completely still. Then the shouting started. Something about mental health. A voice outside arguing, possibly with nobody. He grabbed his phone and hit record, partly to have evidence, partly because it made him feel less powerless. The man moved off, then turned around and came back. This time he started writing something directly onto the van window. The feeling was unmistakable. Someone in a dark place had decided he was their focus for the night. He kept quiet, sat there in the blackness, and just listened. Waited. When the man eventually drifted away, possibly toward another van parked further down, he noticed the van had been left facing the wrong direction. He's still all in, but he's also shopping for an alarm now. One that triggers the instant anyone makes contact with the door. Because when a face materializes at your window, at that hour, the most terrifying part isn't the threat of harm, it's I'm Exploring with Bear, a channel where solo truck camping collides with cryptid investigation. Bear lights fires, prepares meals, and endures long nights in locations tied to Bigfoot mythology. Usually, things stay quiet. Usually. It's November 28th, 2024, at Berlin Lake, Ohio, a place well known in cryptid communities as the spot where Matt Moneymaker had his very first Bigfoot encounter.
What's up, fam? Welcome back to another adventure. If you're new to the channel, I'm Jer Bear, and for today's adventure, we are truck camping in probably one of the most terrifying places I could be truck camping. But there has been a lot that happened here previously. For one, there was something outside the tent making all kinds of racket, growling. I think there was even growling and crap, man. And I was so freaking scared. I had my little pew-pew out and everything. Anyway, I did leave right after that. Soon as the coast was clear, I got out of here. I left. I come back to retrieve the tent sometime later, and it was jacked. It was like had rips in it and crap. There was a cinder block thrown on top of it. So I don't know. We did do some Bigfoot calls, some Bigfoot knocks. We'd put out some apples and stuff that night. But
He's struggling to coax a campfire to life when a sharp cracking sound tears through the marshy stillness. There's nothing natural about the way it lands. Bear goes rigid and scans the tree line without making a move.
I keep seeing these flashes of light, just really fast. Like I thought I was seeing stuff earlier.
His eyes aren't deceiving him. Another brief, unexplained flash of light pulses through the trees. Persistent, intentional. He makes getting the food finished an urgent priority so he can retreat to the truck.
Where's my flashlight?
Look at my eyes.
Meal secured inside, doors locked, and almost immediately, heavy rapid footsteps pound directly past the parked vehicle. Something big, moving at speed, right alongside him.
Threw that rag on the ground. And I heard hello from like behind me. What in the world? That light don't do nothing. Do you even see? I don't see any lights out there. Doors are locked. That sounded like hello. I mean, maybe it wasn't hello, but it sounded something, said something right outside. I'm not opening the door.
He stays put, doors shut, trying to process what he just experienced. The sound had been uncannily human, like someone deliberately trying to get his attention. Nature doesn't reproduce human speech with that kind of calculated clarity. He's certain about what he heard. He's laying out blankets against the bitter cold, getting the night vision camera set up, when a loud, heavy impact reverberates through the cab. Something hits the outside of the truck hard. He doesn't touch the door handle. Night vision rolling, blankets pulled tight. He waits out the intimidation until daylight finally returns. A voice outside your window saying hello in the pitch dark. That isn't curiosity, that's something else entirely, weighing up whether the time has come to make itself known. 6 in the evening, the vlogger sits in total silence, letting the forest settle around him. The bluebells are out, the birds are carrying on, and civilization feels like a distant memory. He figures he has plenty of time to get comfortable and see the night through in quiet harmony with nature. But darkness has a way of arriving ahead of schedule when you're somewhere you. On September 20th, 1988, 19-year-old Tara Calico vanished without a trace while out on a bike ride near Belen, New Mexico. Her bicycle turned up abandoned along the route, and a cassette tape was found close by. Yet Tara herself was nowhere to be found. Then, roughly a year after she went missing, a photograph emerged depicting a young woman who bore a striking resemblance to Tara, bound and gagged, reigniting the possibility that she had survived. Investigators pursued countless leads over the years, but none of them led anywhere definitive. Had someone abducted her, or was there something far more sinister behind her disappearance? To this day, no one has been able to answer that question, and the case continues to haunt those who know her story. The Damn Railroads is the person behind the YouTube channel, The Explorer Returns. This content creator has built a following around documenting extended wilderness watch sessions, suspected unusual activity reports, overnight figure sightings, and visits to remote public spaces where patterns only begin to surface after long periods of monitoring. On March 20th, 2026, this seasoned explorer headed out to look into online accounts of a footpath where people had reportedly been gathering after dark, behaving in ways that nobody could quite explain. Prior testimonies had described a solitary figure appearing and vanishing with no discernible pattern, which had only deepened the unease surrounding the location. Upon arriving, the site lined up with everything previously described, so they moved to establish a hidden observation point nearby, despite the challenging terrain and minimal natural cover. Once settled in,
This is where they hang around, just around there, where the lights are. How long's it going to be before they come out? Ross, do you reckon when they start coming out, they're going to notice you? Or us?
Your ring light's quite bright. Like any light that hits it, it does shine quite a lot.
This is real. It's not going to be long before they start coming down there. Well, I mean, in the video, they've been on the field before, so they could even be coming from behind. Should we get in the tent?
Yeah.
Shoes off.
Weirdness. Shoes off?
Shoes off.
Okay.
There is something in the tree. come out the tent a sec and look at this, what I'm seeing. He's over there and he's like creeping around out there. Whereabouts? Down there.
The explorer got into position with a clear sightline directly over the footpath. It didn't take long before a figure materialized near the tree line, partially hidden and moving in a way that immediately caught attention, not because of speed or aggression, but because of an unsettling stillness and a total absence of clear purpose. Rather than simply passing through, this individual kept stopping, turning, and scanning the area as though hunting for something specific. It quickly became apparent this was no ordinary passerby, but just as they began shifting position inside the tent to get a better angle, something happened that pushed the whole situation into a much darker kind of uncertainty.
His back's to us at the moment. He was proper looking and then like creeping. There's another one, look, there's another person. There's two people. There's two people. They're not talking to each other, so they're not past. I think it's just a regular guy walking past. I just heard something that way. There's two of them. Okay, I don't know. And he's gonna. He's coming back. He's smoking. Do you reckon that's the one? No, that's not the one. It is not. The one we're looking for has got a blue hoodie, wears a belly, and he normally comes down to hang at this lamppost right here. This guy's coming down. Yeah. Weird stuff. No, he's stopping. What's he doing? He's looking for something. He can't see us.
A second figure showed up further along the path, raising the possibility of either deliberate coordination or a shared habitual use of the same stretch of ground. Neither individual acknowledged the other directly, yet both moved through overlapping zones in a way that reinforced the sense that this was anything but casual foot traffic. After several minutes, both gradually faded back toward the darker edges of the terrain, vanishing without any obvious exit route. That sudden disappearance felt just as strange as the appearance itself. No further movement followed for a period, leaving the group unsure whether the activity had truly stopped or had simply moved beyond their line of sight. Time passed.
Adam is saying the guys are up there. Oh shit. Okay. Why have they not come down here then? Is he actually saying that? Adam's just I don't know. Should we?
I don't know.
Thing is, once we walk past them, we have to come back again. Yeah. And all our stuff's here. He'll start to get sus. Oh yeah, there he is. He's right there. Fuck off. He's right there. He's right there. Yeah, that is definitely him.
He must be staring out at him.
Yeah, he must be. Yeah. He's coming this way. Keep going.
group held their position, and then the situation escalated once more as multiple figures reappeared within the observation zone, this time moving closer together and with more deliberate, defined patterns of movement. The way they positioned themselves suggested a real awareness of the surrounding space, with brief pauses and sudden directional shifts that hinted at either searching or watching behavior. At this point, a deeply uncomfortable question started forming. Were they observing these individuals, or had those individuals quietly become aware of them? It was the kind of uncertainty that made nobody want to move. Eventually, the situation reached a tipping point, where staying hidden no longer felt like a realistic option. With multiple unidentified people converging on the same confined stretch of space, the odds of going undetected were shrinking fast.
He's gone. That's it. The question is, how long till he comes back? Back up the tent. We've decided we're not going to go back in there. Just going to pack everything up. Thank you guys for staying a bit later. And you just never know if there's anyone around behind you. That didn't work out very well, did it? Ross is definitely the most brainiest one here.
Yeah, leave him to it.
Yeah, leave.
He get it done in 2 minutes.
No, it doesn't. Oh, maybe. Maybe.
Oh. We picked him up now.
We're in the middle of the nowhere, in the middle of the night, watching Ross pack away a fucking pop-up tent.
Nah.
You
know what you're doing, Ross? Of course.
Have you never put a tent away in the middle of the night?
No. Not a pop-up one.
I can't believe you guys lasted this long. I thought you guys were going at like 10.
The group made the call to withdraw without any confrontation, pulling back while things were still unresolved. Even as they packed up and began moving away along the footpath, the tension didn't lift. They kept stopping, kept looking back, kept checking the spaces between the trees. With no clear resolution behind them, it was impossible to say whether the area had gone quiet or whether they were simply no longer close enough to see what was still happening. And then something along the way made that question feel a whole lot more urgent.
Oh, Ross. He's there.
You know, you can see through the fucking tree though.
He's fucking there again. He's there again.
Oh, get that camera.
No. He's right there.
Oh, that's fine.
Oh, you reckon walk past? Yeah, let's walk past.
What, we're going to just walk all the way past?
Yeah. See, this is what I mean. 1 a.m. And he's here. Well, I don't think it's quite 1 a.m. I think it's like 12:50.
Very quick. Did he look at you?
Yeah. Yeah, he did. See, this is what I mean. Just send it to Adam.
Yeah.
Saying that he'll probably view that in the morning and be like, what the fuck? He's cozy in bed right now while we're just walking down this footpath again. I just can't. I just don't get. I haven't seen the other one that came out on the live stream yesterday. Oh, maybe that was. No, that wasn't. The one we saw earlier that was hanging around down here, earlier on in the video, that was another one. He was smaller than the one in the live stream yesterday. I am surprised he's not said anything to us yet. Because he's seen me down here quite a few times.
Yeah. Do you reckon it's worth walking around the long way around and waiting at the other end of that footpath, see if it comes through?
We can do that if you want.
Because we never see him walk all the way down here.
No, he never comes down
he
here.
Never comes up by your car.
No. It's a person. People hang around down here just so freaky. Yeah.
Should we like look back now, can't you see? Shut up.
Yeah. Everyone's just asleep and we're just out here looking.
Already some distance from where they'd started, they began catching movement again further down the path, figures briefly cutting between the trees before disappearing once more. What made it genuinely unsettling was how closely it mirrored what they had witnessed earlier, as though the same people were looping back through the area rather than clearing out. Even after changing direction and deliberately trying to put more distance between themselves and the activity, the sightings kept coming at irregular intervals along the route, suggesting that whatever was happening wasn't contained to a single spot, but was spread across multiple points throughout the area. Eventually, the group had no choice but to abandon the location entirely. What makes this encounter so difficult to shake isn't just what the group witnessed firsthand, but how precisely the experience matched everything they'd already read about the place. The online reports, the repeated claims of late-night gatherings, the eerie stillness, the way figures were said to materialize and vanish without explanation. All of it had seemed like exaggeration, until the group started seeing patterns that aligned almost exactly with those prior descriptions. But the question that lingers is both simple and deeply uncomfortable. Why would people be standing in the dark along the same stretch of path night after night with no apparent destination? Could it have been nothing more than late-night walkers, people seeking solitude, ordinary behavior filtered through the lens of suspicion? Or was there a real possibility that this location was being used for something far less visible, something structured enough to pass as random, yet deliberate enough to repeat in cycles that could never quite be fully mapped? If it was all harmless, why did none of it ever resemble normal movement when someone was actually there watching? By the time they got out, there was nothing concrete to hold on to, only fragments of behavior that never assembled themselves into anything definitive. And that is what follows them long after the footpath is behind them. Not a conclusion, not an answer, but the slow realization that everything they saw could be read two entirely different ways simultaneously, either as unremarkable human behavior witnessed at the wrong hour, or as something far more calculated that was simply never going to let itself be fully understood. Because in places like this, the most unsettling thing isn't what eventually reveals itself. It's what remains consistent enough to feel real, yet controlled enough to never confirm what it actually is, leaving open the possibility that being understood was never part of the design at all. Deep in the heart of Madrid, an urban explorer known as 2 Swag set out to investigate a colossal 550,000 square foot derelict hospital that had once served as the backbone of Spain's entire medical system. What he didn't realize was that this place had a few surprises waiting for him. He'd been given the impression that the internal cameras were non-functional, though he did notice a security guard posted near the entrance. He found his way in through what looked like an old pool area, complete with a pulley system still hanging overhead. He pushed on. The sheer scale of the building was suffocating, and tackling somewhere like this on his own made every step feel heavier than the last. Then came his first major blunder. While moving toward what he believed was the main entrance area, he nearly stumbled directly into the security monitoring zone.
The front. Oh, no. There's a security camera right there. I might have just f***ed up. I'm not gonna go that way. We're gonna go up to some of the other floors and then make our way over. We're not going by the first floor front entrance. This place is so big. By the way, you guys, opening any door here is a real gamble. There might be an alarm or camera or something just waiting for you on the other side. Maybe even a security guard. You don't know. This looks like it was just a patient room. I think all of these were just patient rooms. I'm gonna keep walking until I find something cool.
Things got worse fast. While attempting to force his way through one of the blocked-off doors, it swung shut and locked him out of his only exit. He threw himself against it, trying to get it back open, but something was resisting from the opposite side. The realization hit him like a wall. Somebody was right there, pushing back.
We gotta go. This looks open,
No, this can't be a dead end. No. They're coming down.
He had no time to think. Glancing out through one of the nearby windows, he could make out the guard post sitting just outside, the small security booth clearly visible through the gap.
There's 3. No, don't go back. Yes, at the top. Yes, at the top. We got to leave now. It's so stupid.
He slipped out, calling a casual greeting into the air as he went, feeling equal parts relieved and proud of himself. But when he sat down to review his footage and cross-reference it with clips other explorers had posted from the same location, the truth hit him hard. The one room he had crossed an entire continent to find, the fully intact operating theater, original surgical instruments still laid out exactly as they'd been left, had been just a few feet away from him the whole time. He practically had his hand on the wall that separated them, and he walked away without ever knowing it. While drilling near Udachny in Siberia, a team of miners came across something that stopped them cold. Deep beneath layers of ancient diamond-bearing soil, they pulled out a mummified animal with a rodent-like skull, unusual limbs, and elongated hind legs that matched no known species. What left researchers stunned wasn't only the creature's bizarre anatomy, but the extraordinary state it was in. Thought to originate from the Mesozoic era, this thing may have been locked in Siberia's permafrost for millions of years. It's currently being kept in Yakutsk for scientific examination, holding answers that experts are still waiting to uncover. A man going by Anton, who ran a TikTok account called Anton Raka, uploaded footage documenting a terrifying encounter he had out in the woods. His page was typically filled with content around hiking, fishing, and overnight trips into nature. On October 15th, 2024, he made his way into a stretch of forest he was familiar with, somewhere he'd been to plenty of times, but on this particular trip, everything went sideways. Shortly after pitching his tent and getting his campsite ready for the evening, an aggressive woman came charging toward him out of nowhere.
Leave me alone, please, okay?
Oh, I'll leave you with my husband. He's right over here. Maybe he's gonna get that message through your thick head.
Okay.
Yeah,
hey.
okay, I'm just gonna go and get him. He's gonna kick you out of here in
go out.
seconds.
Leave me alone.
Yeah, and he just got out of jail. Ooh, he's gonna enjoy taking a piece of like you.
She insisted that the entire forest was private property belonging to her and her husband, and that he had no right to be there. Anton knew this was nonsense and pushed back, but she escalated quickly, warning him that her crazy husband would come sort him out. He decided to brush off the threats and kept the camera rolling, pressing on with setting up camp, but the situation didn't stay calm for long. When he circled back to his tent after collecting firewood, what he found stopped him cold. The woman's husband was standing right beside his tent, dousing it in gasoline. Understanding just how fast things could go very wrong, Anton abandoned everything and bolted toward his car.
I wanted to leave and I picked up the few things and started walking towards my car.
But reaching it brought no relief. The windows had been smashed in and every tire had been slashed. The footage ends suddenly. In those final seconds, Anton is visibly panicking, desperately trying to put distance between himself and the man. Once the video went up, viewers flooded the comments with debate. Some were convinced the whole thing was a staged stunt, while others felt it was a genuine and life-threatening situation. What makes it all so unsettling is that Anton has never posted a single thing since.